Alright, so today I want to do a video just talking about the value of buying a good quality vacuum cleaner. Now, I've talked about this multiple times, and sometimes I get a little bit of hate on that. Like, well, you gotta understand that, not everybody can afford an expensive vacuum cleaner, which that is very true, and I understand that. I always say buy what you can afford. If all you can afford is something like this, you go for it. I understand that. Um, but the reason I explain buying a good quality vacuum cleaner, if possible, is your money goes a lot farther. And yes, it's an investment up front, but it's going to be a longer lasting and more easier to maintain over the years. One of the things that I always tell people, I'm like, okay, so we tend to look at things like as far as like buying appliances and different things, like everything else we tend to gravitate towards, like, I want to buy a good quality one. I want to buy a good quality refrigerator. I want to buy a good quality washer and dryer. I want to buy a good quality, you know, um, stove. I want to buy a good quality dishwasher that is really made well and will do a good job. But when it comes to the vacuum cleaner, a lot of people are like, just a cheap little thing from Walmart. That'll do, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that, depending upon your situation. Everybody has different budgets, everybody has different households, everybody has different needs, and I understand that. I'm making that very clear right up front. However, why is it that we invest in all these other things and think that that's important, but the very machine that cleans our floors we don't really care about? And I'm going to tell you one thing, and this may surprise a lot of people, but vacuum cleaners don't just clean the floor. They don't just suck stuff off the floor. First of all, a good vacuum cleaner for carpet is always going to have a good brush roller on it, which is going to increase the vibrations to vibrate stuff out of your carpet. And that's what you want. You want it to vibrate and shake loose all the sand, dirt, debris, whatever else is in there. And you want it to lift up the pile of the carpet. If you have all hard floors, that's something that you don't really have to worry about all that much. Although I would still look into decent vacuum cleaners. And I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why that applies both if you have primarily carpet or if you have primarily hardwood floors. And that is filtration. Now, you can get vacuum cleaners that filter decent, but they're not engineered to last. They're not designed with good seals. That's why I always recommend a bagged vacuum cleaner. If you're really concerned about filtration, a bagged vacuum cleaner is arguably going to be way better with filtration than any bagless vacuum cleaner on the market ever will be. Especially because the whole thing with the bagless vacuum cleaner, it completely defeats the purpose of all the filtration hype if you open it up to dump dirt and dust into your trash can in your house and, stuff like that. So I always recommend looking into bag vacuum cleaners. Now, you can get pretty good filtration out of a cheap vacuum cleaner. And the one thing you can do with that is you can buy these bags that are a cloth type material. These are basically like hypoallergenic bags, or what are called HEPA rated. And what it is it's a spun fiber material that is really thick and filters stuff out. If you ever are concerned with your furnace filter, like, I want it to filter out really good and stuff, and you're ever using air purifiers, that's exactly what this is. This is going to be filtration beyond anything you can ever find in a bagless vacuum cleaner, arguably. So the bag is the primary filter when it comes to filtration. So that's something that I would really recommend. And the bags, depending upon your household and depending upon how large the bags are in your machine, like these other two that you see on your screen have massive bags. They will last for several months before they're ever full and before you ever have to change them. Now, one of the things that you need to be concerned about is, like, don't we buy appliances with the thought in mind of, like, okay, I don't want to just replace it every few years. Can I repair it? Can I get parts for it? Can I get service for it? Most of your Walmart vacuum cleaners today are not designed with that in mind. They're designed with being disposable in mind. Not that they necessarily are. I mean, not all of them are. Some of them are just complete crap. Okay, I'm just going to be straight up with you. Some of them are complete crap. But I will say that if all you can afford is something from Walmart, like this, Bissell and Hoover are by far the easiest to get parts and supplies for that don't cost an arm and a leg, especially Bissell. Hoover, it may be slightly more tricky, but it's a lot better than something like Shark or Dyson or, anything like that. And that brings me to my next point. If you're thinking about a Shark or a Dyson or something like that, those are like $300, $400, $500, $600. And not that they're bad machines in and of themselves, but they are not designed with longevity in mind. They're designed to be flashy, they're designed to look fancy, and they're not designed with the long-term 10, 15, 20-year lifespan in mind. And I've heard a lot of people argue that you can't get 10, 15, 20 years out of a vacuum cleaner anymore. I'm going to tell you folks, that is not true. you can. If you buy something that you can get parts for, you can get 10, 15, possibly even 20 years out of one of these. Okay, this is $60 at Walmart. These Bissell Power Force bagged vacuum cleaners have been around for 20 years. You know, they have been on the market. The design has changed over the years, but they pretty much all use the same belts, the same bags, the same stuff. So that is something to keep in mind. And so when you are looking at vacuum cleaners, you want to make sure that are parts readily available. Now, that being said, if you have the money and you are willing to invest, and I mean, a lot of people say that vacuum cleaners just aren't a good investment anyway, so it's not really worth it. I'm going to tell you, folks, they are. And I'm not saying that you have to spend, thousands of dollars on a vacuum cleaner. Not at all. In fact, I think that is ridiculous if you're thinking like, yeah, I'm just going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a vacuum cleaner. Because I don't think you're going to get as much return on that investment overall. However, I will say that if you spend around between $300 to $800 in that range, and you look outside of Walmart and whatever's common on Amazon, all the well-known, everybody knows about them kind of vacuum cleaner. If you look into commercial vacuum cleaners, you can get a commercial vacuum cleaner for $300, $400, about as much as a Shark or a Dyson, if not less. And they're going to have metal parts. They're going to have interchangeable parts. They're designed to be serviced and repaired. Most of them have way longer cords. And that's a huge feature that a lot of people look for, is a very long cord. And most of your vacuum cleaners, in Walmart and places like that, you're going to have cords between, 20 to 30 feet in length. I like to see vacuum cleaners with cords anywhere from 30 to 50 feet in length, because it gives you just that much more flexibility. Because, let's face it, most homes are on the larger side. Even if they're not a huge home, they're still a pretty good size. This house that I'm living in right now is 1,500 square feet. That's still a pretty good amount that I've got to reach all over this house to get clean, And having to move your cord, in every room or so, it's just not feasible, So when you step up to something like an Oreck or, anything that is commercial grade, you're at least going to get a 30-foot cord. And that's what I like to see. The average length for most vacuum cleaner cords is about 25 feet. So you're going to get at least 30 feet, sometimes 35 feet, sometimes 40 feet, 50 feet, it depends. But when you look at commercial vacuum cleaners, they're designed for a large commercial application. And I get asked the question, can you use a commercial vacuum cleaner in a household setting? Absolutely you can. There is nothing wrong about that. It's not going to damage anything. It's not going to be too harsh on anything. And it shouldn't be. I mean, it depends on your application. You know, you want to make sure that you get something that is designed for your application, whether you have carpet or hardwood floors. But it's just going to be a better built machine overall. And when you buy a commercial vacuum cleaner, you're getting something that is made to be repaired, so parts are widely available. It's not even funny. Like if you get an Oreck commercial, parts are everywhere for these, both aftermarket and original equipment. And as you can see, there's a wood brush roll here. And wood is a lot stronger than plastic. It handles the heat, it handles everything that goes through it, and everything like that. Now, weight is a concern for a lot of people, so, obviously pay attention to the weight if that's a concern for you. If weight is not a concern for you at all, if you're a strong person that can handle, 25, 30 pounds, this is by far one of your best options. I wouldn't say it's the only option. You do have options such as Sebo, Miele, Sanitaire, all those other options. But Kirby's, I'm going to tell you, the way these have been built like this for decades. This particular setup has been around for over 30 years. And parts are everywhere. You can get every single part under the sun. You can completely rebuild them. You can get into them and totally clean them up, service them, all of that stuff. Bags are really cheap. Belts last forever. They're extremely powerful. And the entire machine is all metal. I mean, these are virtually indestructible. And one of the reasons why I say to invest in a good vacuum cleaner is, number one, I mean, if you have a family and kids and pets and stuff, and you're super dependent on your vacuum cleaner, you need something that is strong and that will not, cave under pressure. I mean, now, first of all, you need to take care of whatever you have. I mean, that's the bottom line. You need to make sure that you keep it clean, maintained, you don't abuse it, you don't pick up stuff that you shouldn't, all that stuff. But, I mean, if you're running your vacuum cleaner every single day, and you have pet hair, and you have kids dropping cereal, and you have stuff just all the time, reliability and longevity is going to make a huge difference. Now, Kirby's, you can find them used, rebuilt, all that stuff for a couple $100, like $200, $300, $400. And I'm going to tell you that they're going to last a very long time. I mean, they are built to last for life, as well as the Oreck vacuum cleaners. These are vacuum cleaners that you will most likely buy and have the rest of your life, if they're well maintained. Now, if weight is an issue, buy the Oreck. This is 8 pounds. This is 24 pounds. Okay. But if you're on a single level house, I don't think you're going to have much of an issue with a Kirby, because I don't think you're going to have to lift it all that much. You know, now if you do have stairs, or if you're weaker or elderly, I would suggest the Auric. So, I would not recommend the Kirby for everyone. Certainly not for, older people, pregnant women, older women, But if it doesn't affect you, this is by far the best way to go. One of the best ways to go. There are many other options, like I said, but this is just the best example I have. So, anyway, I hope that this was informative for you. If you have any questions on what may be good for your home or your situation, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.